All right, all right. What's up, everybody? James Corbett here, Project Refit. We have Dan, Mo, Wade, and a special guest, Shelly Nichols. So Shelly Nichols is going to talk to us today about her story. She's an MST, which is military sexual trauma survivor. So she's going to give us that perspective, talk to us a little bit about herself, where she came from, why she decided to join, and then, of course, a moment where she was for her life, because this is FML, and usually that means, fuck my life, but in Project Refit terms, it is for my life. So, quick updates for you guys. This Sunday coming up, we have a car cruise. It is in Haddon Township, New Jersey. It'll be at the Tap Room and Grill in Haddon Township, New Jersey. Starting at 10 a.m., we'll start driving out, and we'll go past the Austin's residence, past the Audubon Police Department, past the Audubon Fire Department, all to show honor for the fallen officer earlier this year that we helped out, raise the money for. And then we're going to return back to Tapper Grill and have a good time. Whole day is dine and dinner. Have a couple of baskets there. And then also, we're potentially going to have our bike with us, our motorcycle with us, that we're going to auction off too. And maybe you can buy some raffles on that too early. So, all of that said, thank you guys for joining. Shelly, how are you? Let's go right to you. Let's hear your story.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name's Shelly Nichols, and Native American woman. So originally, I'm from Oregon, originally tribal member up there in the Grand Ronde. So wasn't raised up on the reservation, but yeah. So kind of well, before you said talk to me about a little bit before my military. So I actually grew up foster care. So trouble. My mom and dad were troubled, so my sisters and I kind of got into foster care, and unfortunately, we were family, and I was harassed too, and gosh, I'm a little nervous. I'm so sorry. But,
you're fine. You are fine.
Yeah. So
take your time.
Yeah, take my time. So being in foster care and being abused by my cousin and things like that, and kind of got moved around quite a bit, different foster homes, and kind of traveled a lot, just moved around a lot over Oregon. And I got emancipated when I was 17, so lived on my own for a while, worked really hard. A friend of mine was talking about military. I was working, I was working a job, I forget which job I was at, and she was saying, hey, you want to, I'm going to go into the military, and I have this recruiter, is something. And I thought about it a lot, because where was I going with my life, and what was I going to do after I graduated high school? And so actually I moved to Merced, California my senior year of high school, and went to a recruiter, and I was in the DEP program for about 6 months. And but I wanted to go to the military because I was my childhood, I moved around so much, so I had no stability really. And so I was like, where am I going to go with my life? So military, so proud, wanted to serve my country. You have a stable life. I thought maybe I was going to be safe, travel, go to college. I mean, all the great stuff that, but definitely wanted to serve my country. I had aunts and uncles who also served. So, yeah, right after high school, they came knocking on my door a couple days after I graduated and sent me out to boot camp, and did that. And it was 1990. So I got stationed after boot camp in San Diego on the USS Cape Cod Navy, and enjoyed it, and at that time, that's when Desert Storm would hit. And so we got deployed out that way. And yeah, so, I learned a lot, taught me a lot, great people, met a lot of great people.
Yeah.
But what it came down to is we were in the Philippines and was out having a good time. And one of the shipmates, and I'm not going to say a fellow shipmate or anything because he's an ass. And so it's okay, I can say ass, right?
You can curse as much as you want.
You can curse all day.
Yeah, so a couple of friends of mine, we had a hotel room, but he just showed up and pretty much locked me up pretty much in the bathroom. And then that's where the rape happened. And, people ask me, why didn't you scream for help or anything like that while you're there? And when when I was abused as a child by my cousin, he always said, don't tell, So that when that was happening, when the rape was happening, I pretty much just shut down. I was like, what what's going on? So no, I didn't. He left, and that next morning, I was like, what just happened? And I always thought it's my fault because I was drinking, but I wasn't at that point where I drunk, and they always say, well, you were drinking, so you just let that happen. And no, that's not. But I reported right away. I went back to the ship and went to my supervisor, and I reported it right away. Went into medical, and they did all their testing and all that. And it took a while, but other women, when this all came out, other women came forward too, that he had promised them to, advancements if they would do sexual favors. So it wasn't just me who reported him, it was other women. So that really helped me a lot. And so
was he like an NCO or an officer?
He was a petty officer, first class. So he was like HD, and he was a first class. He was in for quite a long time, but so yeah, he got court-martialed. We did the whole, they asked me questions at the court-martial, like tiny little stuff, like what kind of lock was in the bathroom, and I knew that, and they're just like, well, she's not lying, she knows everything, and this and that. And other women came forward, and they knew I was having nightmares. I was screaming in the middle of the night, in my bunk, and so I had other shipmates come forward on that too. And she's like, she's not well at all. And so they kept him off. We're on the same ship, and here we are out in the middle in Bahrain at this time when we did the court-martial, and they kept him pretty much away from me, but I was still scared. I was at that point, like at night, we weren't supposed to go out out in the ship at night, but I was at that point, I was out there, I put myself out there, and I wanted to jump over because I was scared for me. It's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm on the same ship with this guy. People are harassing me and say this didn't happen or whatever. I said, it did. He got court-martialed. He lost his career, but only went to jail for a year. So, and I think that's like standard for the military. So, but they actually sent me and a couple girls back to the States, tried to, they put us in Germany at first in the psych ward. I'm like, I'm not psycho, and it was like, why are they putting us in this white walled room? What are they doing to me? So, but we got back to the States, and they had us go to counseling. And, but when the ship came back, they put me back on the same ship. And I was like, what is going on? And so I was like, I don't even know if I want to be here anymore. And so I was getting harassed by all these, people, and they're like, oh, well, she's an easy lay or something, I'm like, no, I was scared for myself because it's like people just kept harassing me, thought it was okay to, just be rude. And so I actually met a guy who understood stuff like that. So it wasn't the fact I didn't trust men, but I did. I actually went AWOL for 77 days, and that's not good. But I did turn myself back in 93, and I went to my captain, and they 3 days bread and water. That is a real thing. So they actually, my captain goes, "Do you want out, Shelly?" And I said, "I need to get out because nobody's believing me. I'm getting harassed." And so I didn't get to serve my 4 years, almost 4 years, but I didn't get it honorable. And so I'm still fighting for my honorable discharge. I got other than, so it wasn't dishonorable, but it was other than because of my AWOL. But yeah, so I got out, and like I said, I thought that was love of my life, and he was very supportive on a lot. We had a couple kids, move on a little bit further, but very supportive. I had a lot of support when I got out. I kind of kept the military just down, just kept it in a shell. I just didn't want to do anything with the military. Even I went to medical school, and they wanted me to go to the VA to do like my externship, and I said I don't want nothing to do with the VA, and nothing to nothing at all. I was like, nope, I didn't. I just kept all that. I just like got out of the military. I'm done. Had 2 beautiful children. Just kept working, and people knew about my military and about my experience and all that stuff, and but I think it was 2 And then so I just didn't really talk about it too much because I just kept everything. I always tell people I have it was a shell, it was just like in this dark shell, and I just, didn't, just kept everything down. And that's not good because I used to binge drink, have on the weekends, bad. And that would, help me sleep. And so I wouldn't have nightmares. And so that wasn't good. So, but anyway, I was working at a clinic in Spokane, Washington, and it was Domestic Violence Month. And one of my coworkers, she's a counselor. She goes, "Hey, Shelly, do you want to tell your story about when, you grew up and military and things like that?" And so her and I sat down and just wrote, from the time I was a child and to my military and all that. And so, and then about, I don't know how much longer later, but she actually found, I'm going to jump right into warrior songs for me. It was a retreat in Spokane. Hang on. Water. And so I was like, no, I'm kind of hesitant about that. I'm not going to, I don't want to share my story. I don't know these people. But I thought about it for a few days, and a 5-day retreat, and it's going to be other veterans there, other women, MST survivors. So I was like, I'm going to go do this. And that, it started. It's like Jason Moon, he's the creator, and I'm sure you guys know who he is. I think you had him on.
We had him on here.
Yeah. So it was a great 5-day retreat. I sat back and just listened to all these stories from like Vietnam and the other women. And we did a lot of art projects, and I started writing, and I'm like, wow, where's this coming from? And I just started pouring out. I have like journals, and I still write for healing, and I just started writing, and it's so healing. And and then I I did that. And then I went to this conference. I started being open more, like, let me go do this stuff for the military, do different things to start healing. And like I said, the painting behind me, which I love this, it's so powerful. And I went to this conference, and I was like, oh, I gotta have that. It's like one of a kind. So so always saying it. And but yeah, so I actually moved. I kind of split with my husband at that time. We just, after 21 years, we were just so different, and raised our kids, and I was just finding myself, and it was just something new with me. And I, and then so my aunt and uncle, they actually, I moved out of Spokane and moved to Moses Lake, Washington, and helped out their family business. And Jason called me at the end of, and he was like, hey, we're going to do this volume 2, Women at War. Do you want to be part of the committee, advisory committee to do this? It's going to be, amazing. And so we all got together, and there's 5 of us, and I started emailing back, and we're getting all these stories from other women. It's all women. We decided on all women singers too. So this was pretty awesome. And then Jason asked me, he goes, hey, do you want to take any of your writings and make them a song and have a song on the CD? And I'm like, wow, I'm so honored. Yeah, let's do this. So my cousin, my aunt, he's a songwriter. He's in Jersey, and I called him up, and Garrett, his name's Garrett, and I said, hey, this is very deep. This is my life story from the time I was a child to now in the military. Do you want to take this on with me and help me get all my words into song? And he was so honored, and him and I collaborated back and forth on what we wanted to do, and it was just amazing. And so my song is pretty much from the time that I was so lost before the military, joining the military, that I found, and my song's called Warrior Wings. So it pretty much, it's very powerful. But so I found a female singer, and I went to Wisconsin, and Anna Wang is, she's out there, and I got to actually sing with her, and I got to do backup with her and sing my song. And it was an amazing experience, and do a whole bunch of benefit stuff with Jason out there, and tell my story more. So gosh, and I just kept, like I said, I just keep writing, and I still write. And it's amazing when I go back and look at my writings from years ago till now. It's like, wow, it's in a deep, dark shell, and I always say that my wings were there, but they were hidden. So now they're starting to show my color, and I'm able to talk about just my experience with people. And but yeah, so we did this song, and I don't know if you guys know, but the CD did win Wisconsin Album of the Year.
Nice.
And yeah, it was. We were so excited, got to do that. And then I got to go to the Native American Music Awards. Actually, Jason went with me, and my song won pop song. So I won a award for that at the Native American Music. That was in 2019. So, and again, that was just amazing. So
feel?
Great. Oh my gosh. I just got up and like, it was so quiet and I just jumped up and I'm like, wow, my story's out there. And to win an award for it too. And like, wow, that, you know, the award is for me to heal. And it's amazing, heck yeah. And so, but yeah, I just can't keep living my life. Actually, I moved from Moses Lake actually about 4 months down. I always say that I'm a traveler, I guess. And I told my kids this too. I go, they're like, why are you in Arizona? I'm in Yuma. Now I moved down here in the hot. So I said, I finally realized that my soul, my body, I'm not ready to settle anywhere yet. I think I just want to go and tell my story. And I'm like, what's that song out there? Like The Traveler by, what's his name? Chris Stapleton, I guess.
That's a great song.
I've got love that. Yeah. But that's how I feel. It's like, I'm not done yet. So, just want to tell my story and get out there. And I'm actually going to be part of the volume 6 for Warrior Song with Jason. We're going to do a Native American veterans.
Right. I forgot. I was trying to think of what he said it was. The Native American.
Right. So, and that's a little tricky because Native American, a lot of the men, they don't want to relive a lot of their bad experience. So it's taken me a little time to get connected with the tribes and getting people to tell their stories. But it's a process. It takes a while. So, but but yeah, but gosh, this is great. You have any questions for me or? No.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I've been
really quick. James's internet's not doing so hot, so he might not ask any questions, and it's just because he doesn't even know.
I'm like kind of like this complimentary type internet thing. So if I lag, sorry about that.
No, you've been fine the whole time.
Okay, good.
Sorry about that, Mal.
Oh, yeah. You're good. Yeah, I've been typing anything that pops into my head because I have a squirrel brain, so I need it like.
Me too.
Yeah. We're kindred spirits there.
Right,
so I guess one of the first things that came up was when you were talking about before the military and kind of some of those, and you didn't really go into it too much. I got it. But like how that, because I definitely did not have your experiences growing up. But I grew up with a Middle Eastern family in America, right? I was born and raised here. That culture clash, and so a lot of beat downs, a lot of just like chaos. And I thought, like when I joined the military, I thought like, man, all that ass whooping and just like chaos, that should prepared me for this, right? When I was going through basic and all that. And a little background on me and Dan, I guess, is we were both actually in the same company on one of our deployments. We were both Army infantry, so we came in with that. So I thought like, shit, life has been unkind to me because I was also a single parent before I joined the Army. My son's mom left like right when he was born, essentially. No part in his life, nothing. So I was like on my own. And I was like, you know what? I'm hardcore. Like this stuff's easy because life has been shit anyway. So like this is all good. And now I'm starting to realize like, a lot of those experiences like set us up to be more receptive to like the after effects of trauma, and almost like it works against us in a way, So I guess going into it, did you have that same kind of like, oh, this shit is easy? Like when you were going through base or boot camp, I guess for the Navy, you're like, like whatever. And then your initial military experiences. Okay.
Yeah. No, boot camp to me was, I know waking up at 3:00 in the morning, but boot camp actually was great. You met there was 88 women. That was, that's a lot of women in one place. But boot camp to me was easy. I ran, I swam, I thought that, it was great, so yeah. That was good. So, it's like, so far, so good. Okay, I got this, So, and then to get stationed with a couple of the, and I'm still friends with them actually. And a couple of them, we all got stationed together, and that was nice too, because we went boot camp and then we got stationed on the same ship. So that was really cool to to have that, support. And so, yeah.
And that was,
Yeah.
because that, I mean, and that kind of ties into like, once you got, was it the first ship you were on where the MST were, how should I say that? I'm sorry. I don't want to.
You're our first MST survivor, by the way.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Thank you for the honor.
Yeah. How do you say? You can say rape. You can say MST. I know the military. Everything's acronyms. So right.
Which one are you more comfortable with?
People don't like that word, but I think it really. And I don't know. I can only say like I think that conveys like the fucked upness behind it. Everything's kind of like
the evil behind it.
Skirts around it.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because you were saying like you got locked up, and I mean like part of that was like back to your childhood, when your cousin was doing that shit to you, and a lot of those experiences that we had as kids, like we don't realize it carries over to adults.
Right.
So I guess how did your chain of command, like you said, you reported this right away.
Yes.
How did they react to it initially? I know they went through the process, but like what was everyone's? Because I can only imagine, especially in your time frame in the military, where I could see people being dicks and not believing you and just like all sorts of bullshit that you had to go through.
Right. They, my captain, he was the best supporter at that time. And a lot of my friends, the women friends, of course, some of the guys that were in my shop, they were too, they're supportive. I mean, I got the support, and like I said, I reported right away. And then anybody who, like, there's when we went to the court martial, everybody was behind my back, and then like I said, other women came forward too to report him. So it wasn't just me, but like I said, when they put me back, when the ship came back and they put us back on there, that it had a different vibe, and it was scary for me, really. I was like, oh, I do not want to be here.
Going back to where your trauma took place. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
That's insane.
I know.
When you were still on the ship before you got, before everything was, because you said you were in Bahrain while the court martial was going through.
Yeah, he was on the ship too at the same time.
Wow.
Well,
or was he just kind of free to roam?
They pretty much. I don't know if they really locked him down. I didn't really see him though until the court martial. So it was pretty much stay the distance, stay away. Yeah. So.
But that's such a half.
I kept myself secluded though too.
Right.
So or I got off the ship. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I can imagine like going through your head, like, is this dude just gonna be walking around? Like, am I gonna fucking run into him? Like that would.
Right. Well, he was supposed to be confined to the ship, but we were we went to, after the Philippines, we went to Hong Kong, and he was actually out and about at Hong Kong. I'm like, why is he off the ship? That was scary. I'm like, we're out in the middle in Hong Kong. And I'm like, oh no, so I just like jetted different direction. I'm like, that's not okay, So, but, they, yeah, so it was scary for me. Like I said, I just wanted to jump off out to the ocean. It was just like but they kept, like I said, they kept him pretty secured and kept us pretty safe too. So, yeah.
But still, it seems like a conflict, because on one hand you're saying was it your CO or?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm not too, okay. Yeah, your CO was very supportive, which is honestly great to see from that kind of level.
Right. He didn't take any crap. He didn't take any bullshit. He was great. He was yeah.
So that's solid. But on the other hand, it's like it also seems like they didn't. Some of the people didn't take it seriously, right? Why the fuck is he walking around?
Right. Yeah, they didn't.
I can only imagine how much that must have impacted you, like just seeing that shit,
Yeah, it was scary. It was a scary time. But here I am healing, and I'm stronger now. I'm a stronger woman, and like I said, just trying to be that advocate for other women. And it's like, you hear so much about how these women don't say anything.
My question. That's the next question I had for you. You're
amazing.
They
don't. Rex. Ooh.
Yep.
And it kills me inside. It's like, why wait? it coming all the way from like politics to the military, it doesn't matter, like these women or men, because it does happen to men too. And I went to counseling with men who were raped or sexually assaulted, by their female superiors. So, but I say, tell right away, people are like, oh, they'll kill my family if I do, or they have all this stuff. And I'm like, find a safe place, find somebody you can tell, and report it right away, because if you don't, it's going to eat you up. It does.
They're going to do it again. I think if somebody has the capability of doing something that evil, it doesn't stop one time. That is a habitual thing.
Right. Well, just like with this guy that did, with me, it's like all of a sudden all these other women came. I'm like, okay, all right. So yeah.
So within the Native American community, do you have a strong connection with the Native American community? Like, is it strong in your life?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
how did they respond to with you getting out and to the MST?
Actually great. I actually did a podcast with them. I was in their. We have a paper up there. We did. His name's Dean. He took all of it and he goes, "Oh, Shelly, let's do a podcast. Let's do articles. Get this out there." And so, but yeah, they very supportive. Very supportive. Yeah, it was amazing, right? So, yeah, to tell that, and I actually went to a couple years ago. Took a whole bunch of CDs and went to the powwow, and it was our military powwow, so that was cool. So took my CDs and got to tell my story there, and but yeah, a lot of support. Mm-hmm. And when I was there, one of my cousins, she actually came to me about the song, and it was her brother who was molesting, and she looked at me and she goes, Shelly, is that was that she calls him brother, they call her brother, brother. Right. So was your song about brother and her brother? And I said, it was. And she goes, I'm so sorry. And and she but I guess she opened up to me, she was, and I think that something had happened to her too, but she wasn't ready to deal with it. But but yeah, so a lot of support all over, just everywhere. So yeah.
That's one of the, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit of tale, not to take away, but kind of to tie back to something you brought up, where it was why wait? Like, go, if it happens, like go tell somebody, do something about it.
Right.
And so I was, when I left active duty, I went pretty much right away. I started using the GI Bill, and during that first semester that I was in, I was dating a Air Force veteran, and she, initially I was like, oh sweet, like this is cool, like, another bed, like and then like pretty quickly it started turning into like a very emotionally abusive relationship, and I just, I don't know, I guess I was always like a hopeless romantic before, and then I was also like, I'll just, I'll be supportive, like, and then eventually it started getting very physically abusive, and she lifted, so she would hit like a fucking man, so I was going through all that, and it was a lot of repetitive like events happening where it would get physically abusive, and I would take it and I would go right back, right? Yeah. Over and over again. I also wouldn't say anything about it. I would hide it as much as I could from everyone that I knew, till it got to a point where, even after, like, there was one incident where some of my friends came over to help me like take some of my shit, and then like within a week or two I was right fucking back. Like, I just kept going back to it. It got to a point where it was, I had my face had all sorts of marks and bloodied. My arm, like, I was bruised all over. And it took this one really intense event where it finally dropped the veil for me. And then from there, I didn't even think about filing a police report or doing anything till a good friend of mine sat me down and knife-handed the shit out of me, and was like, while I was in tears, was like, I'm going to take you to the fucking police station and you will file a report. Definitely. And it took that, and I was like, okay, you know, and then I go, and I'm like going through the process, and then I have to start talking about it in court, because I was trying to get a protective order at that point. That was like the next logical step. The first judge I had fucking laughed at me, and he was like, you're a man, you're a vet, like, I don't fucking believe you. And also, you know, one thing, actually, that woman, she would tell me when this shit was going on, and I would try to like leave. She'd be like, you're Middle Eastern and you're a combat vet. Like, I can lie all I want and nobody's gonna fucking believe you. And I believed her. Like, I wholeheartedly believed her. And so like going through it, like it was, I mean, eventually I got the protective order. Like I was able to get it, and it was, but then I had to start healing myself. And that was a huge, because I was a shell at that point, you know? And I was so, I think part of the reason why I kept quiet for so long and didn't want to do anything until it took that just like final push, was that I was fucking ashamed, you know? I was like, I was in the military, like I'd done all this shit. I was a combat vet. I'd led dudes into battle, you know? It's like, how the fuck could I, like, I don't want to tell anyone about this, because I'm ashamed of myself. I'm ashamed that I was in that, you know, like, I feel like that. But I was also afraid, because I started getting like nightmares that she would come fucking find me, and like, it was like very, very vivid. So it was a combination of shame and also fear that there might be, however unrealistic it might be at that point. Right. But it was that combination of shame and fear. And I can't, and I mean, like, that was domestic violence, so I can't even compare that to anything you've been through. But the part of just not doing anything about it, not telling anyone, that's such a hard thing, I think, for a lot of people to do. So one, it was a huge sign of your strength to just right away, just, you know, fucking go do something about it. And hats off to you hardcore for that. But it was, I mean, like, to that, I think part of that was like, I really thought, like, I didn't think anyone else was going through this too. I think that's a big issue. It's like, you think you're alone in it. And I think that makes it even worse too. So with that, when you started really going out and telling your story and getting the song out there, and I mean, having it so many different ways that it really can connect and resonate. How did you see that really impacting some of the people there? Like, maybe even people that just never, like, impact people, or impact me, or for me, it's like I said, everybody was just, I just get great feedback. You know, family and friends are like, wow, you know, this is, you know, you're telling their story, and hopefully other people will hear and listen. Like I said, you know, report right away, you know, just don't be afraid. And I actually, I'll tell you, after I did all this retreat, the VA let me, I don't get to use the VA, which is fine because it's messed up anyway, eventually maybe. But I did get to go to counseling actually in 2013. They let me come there for counseling, and I did that. And I saw a counselor and was trying to do all this. And she had me do a lot of writing and doing stuff. And I actually called, and she goes, eventually you're going to have to forgive people. You know how they say that, forgive and it'll help you, or confront your abusers. So I actually called my cousin, and I told him right away, I said, you know, you did this to me. You molested me. And I got it. Oh my gosh, I felt, woo. You know, it was, and he goes, and you know what his response was, oh, I don't remember that. And I was like, I just wanted to call you. You know, and my other sisters, they were molested by him too. So, and you know, and trying to get my sisters to confront that and deal with that too, because I have one sister who just is so still hurting and stuff. And but I called him, and my counselor, she goes, what? She goes, no way, you did that already. I said, yeah, I called him, and I said, look, you did, you know, this happened when we were living with you and your family. I said, you really fucked me up in my life, you know. So I just wanted to let you know that. And he just said, nope, don't remember. And I was like, he doesn't have to remember. I do. I know what I suffered through, all that. So, but that was like, wow, that, you know, so that helped me. That was a good stepping stone for me. And it just felt like all this brick and everything was just off my shoulders to get that out there. And I was like, but like I said, my counselor's like, what? You already called? Wow, you're healing pretty good. I was like,
it's not good to keep all that stuff in you. It's not good health wise. It's not good for your immune system. You got that stress that, so but yeah. But opening up in 2013 and telling my story, I was having a little bit night because I was reopening up all these wounds and doing this stuff and writing. And I went back to that nightmare stuff again. And
which is natural.
That's why I started listening to music at night, or just something relaxing at night. And so that helped. I didn't want to go back to the binge drinking or anything like that. That wasn't, I didn't want to go down that path, so I started just finding music or something to listen to at night, and just that helped me. Comedy. I would laugh in the middle of the night. I guess at that time my husband's like, "You were just laughing." I'm like, "I was listening to comedy."
Every night I listen to Pandora. I listen to Tom Segura.
Every single night. Yeah. So, but to be honest with you, I was a little bit nervous doing this with you guys because I was like, "But Shelly," so I burnt some sage and just breathe, because this is great. This is great, and I feel great about it, and getting out there, and hopefully other people will be seeing this. And
like I said, you're the first person on our podcast that we've had who was a MST survivor. So I think the people who see this podcast they're immediately going to be reached immediately, whether it happens to them or a family member, their wife, their husband. It's going to reach people regardless.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the beautiful part of the kind of healing that you're doing now, where it's like in a place to help others heal.
Yes.
It steamrolls. It's that ripple effect.
Yeah. Like I said, I just write. I write about funny stuff. I crack myself up sometimes, and it's good. But if I have those deep feelings, and I get my little thing, I'm gonna write it down, or have you, of course, your phone. You have a notepad, and I just write. And I was like, "Ooh, that was good." Yeah, And so, and laugh. I love laughing a lot, so that helps too. I always say laughter is a good medicine because you got to have that in life. Yeah. So
I'm gonna try the sage piece because my wife is like all into that. She'll, if she ever the sage, she said burn some sage. Yeah, mm-hmm. Like she's at the point where if she feels like there was bad juju around or bad spirits, she'll just like go around with the sage, like cleanse me, baby. Like
right. It is. It's pretty powerful. Yeah. Yeah, I do a little singing with it, and just kind of, walk around, sage, and I kind of do my hey-yas, and so, yeah.
So there's something I think Dan had mentioned earlier. It's like, was there a part of some of your methods of healing and like, anything in your toolkit or whatever you're using, were there things from, your
culture?
Your culture, right? The background that like you were able to bring over. I'm assuming the sage is one of them.
Because growing up, we weren't. We did a lot of stuff like when we were younger. Like for sage, I've always burned sage. That's just a good healing, a good spirit. Like you said, the bad juju, or what's that? Yeah.
But is there anything else that like you really were able to connect with, like, to bring in from the spiritual aspect or whatever that just helped, like for anyone even watching this, like something, because everyone's always like, all right, medication, therapy, counseling, whatever. Like I feel like there's other things you can use to enhance this process,
Music.
You found.
Music or for dancing or going, I don't know.
Wait, let me ask this then. On the singing and dancing wise, if you're singing and dancing normal, like not your cultural, I think that's what we're trying to get to.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you're singing and doing the traditional dances of the Native Americans and doing that culture, does that hit and heal more than singing Cher? Or so, you know what I mean? Singing.
Right. No, we used to dance at powwows when we were younger and stuff like that, but kind of got out of that, but as an adult, when I was in college, I actually reconnected with my Native American heritage, and learned a lot more about our tribe, and so I'm very connected that way, and always, so family members, things like that. So, but not really, just like you said, what did I bring into, especially for healing? Mostly just my sage and any kind of like not just like regular music, but like drumming music, how things like that. So Native American spirit music, So yeah. So that helps. That helps a lot.
Yeah, that's a powerful thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, let me see. There was.
I'm looking up Native American.
And if this is not something you want to answer, like please fucking shoot me down. But you said they pushed you out when you were exiting the military with a other than honorable.
Yes.
Which is so fucked for everything.
Yes. Well, I think Mm-hmm.
It was for the AWOL, but I think the AWOL was understandable.
Yeah, I think it was for the AWOL. Wait, because on my DD 214 it said misconduct, but I'm still fighting. There was a reason for all that, because of the rape, and there was harassment. Right. And so, and somebody asked me, because I've been filling out it took a long time to get my military records, years. And I'm still working on, everybody goes, did you apply, fill out your flight forms? I mean, shoot, I even got a hold of the White House, and they're like, oh, you need to go to Indianapolis and get your records. I said, that's my problem. I'm not getting all my records that I need to file for my upgrade. And so I was able to send, and it's like what somebody tell me, it's like, you got to keep pushing for that upgrade and fill out your paperwork. And I did that, and I haven't heard anything, and so I'm going to do it again. And it's like they're raping you all over again, Shelly, because they don't want you to get all the, this benefits or whatever. I don't really want the benefit. I don't care about the money, because somebody goes, there's money out there for you for this. And I'm like, I don't care about that. I just want that honorable, that on my DD 214. And because of the situation, because of the rape and the harassment, I think I'm owed that, so here I am fighting. I've been out for what, 28 years now, almost 28 years out of the military. Yes. And like I said, I didn't really pursue my records or do all that, but until 2013, 14. And like I said, they kept sending me the same stuff. I'm like, no, I already have this. So I've got like a big bin of same records. So where's my medical records? Where's my, I think it's secured for the NCI. What is that? NCS or
NCIS?
Yeah. I think all that's secured. I don't think they'll let me have that, but I want all that. I want that court martial. I want, everything. But that's the one that's hard to get. But there's resources out there.
I don't know anything about that, but it doesn't make sense that you wouldn't be able to get the records pertaining to an event that happened to you. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, so that's the stuff that I've been fighting for years, and it's like I just keep pushing and kind of step aside for a minute. And like I said, doing this with Warrior Songs with Jason, and wow, that was just a good part of healing, made me stronger. So you just got to keep pushing forward and get what I want. And I'm working on it, but yeah, because I should have that, and it'll happen. It'll happen.
It will. It will.
Yep.
He's actually coming to. We're gonna see him at the end of October, Jason.
Yeah.
He's doing an event in PA, and then he's gonna swing by and we're gonna do one here.
Oh, nice. Yeah. He saved my life. Yeah.
No, mine also though. I got blown up, combat, all that shit, and then I was in the middle of therapy, and I was. Music was reaching me at that point. So I went on YouTube when I was in bad places, and I would just type in PTSD songs, and his was that trying to find my way back home was the first one. And I listened to it, and that shit I was like, fuck, dude, he is saying what I'm thinking that I can't fucking say. He's doing it for me.
Right.
So I there's a magazine called the PTSD Journal. It's for like psychologists and shit. And they interviewed me for Project Refit, and I was talking to her. The month before, she had just interviewed Jason. So I said, hey, could I get his email? And she said, the only reason I can say yes is because he gives the CDs. So we talked a little bit. He sent me the 3 CDs he had out at that time. And then I just reached out to him. But yeah, no, that song changed, I guess, the way I was receiving or thinking about my own shit. It made it tangible for me. So that music is. Now I can't sing or play music, like I'm dog shit with that, but I can enjoy it. I can enjoy it.
There's many different ways to express the artistic side.
Yeah. The one song that he has also, and that one, after when I learned about him in this retreat, I actually looked him up too. I'm like, who is this guy? And I heard that there's a song that it's called "Hold On," That is very powerful. Oh my
Is that
gosh.
on the same album?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And
Yep.
hold on for one more day. You got to hear that one. That one just got
I
down
had that saved,
to my
actually.
soul. Yeah. He's amazing. So
He is.
yeah.
And the fact that he's facilitating now. See, when he was on our podcast, he was talking about how he put out his first album personal about his shit, and he got backlash because it didn't cover the various topics. So instead of being a toxic veteran and saying, fuck you, this is my music, this is what I'm doing, he said, oh, all right, what else can I do now? He did the Vietnam vets, he did the MST, he's doing Native American. He's facilitating these people to have stories and have their stories that maybe they can't speak and have someone else do it for it. It's such a beautiful thing.
Isn't that awesome? It's great.
and for somebody, I think it personalizes it to a level that nothing else really can, because an actual song is being created about their story, so they can listen to that song and they can relive it healthily, obviously, or if they're teetering, whatever. But I think having that person, it's my song. That song is my story. That's transcending, I think.
Have you heard the first volume? Like things. What's the first one? Anyway, we got to be part of that. Have you guys heard any of the CDs? That the volume one.
He just sent me them, so I just got them.
Oh yeah.
He sent me the I forget. I mean, it's a box like this long of each of the last 3. So we're going to be giving them out at events and everything, meeting people. So your song will be out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any MST survivors we come across, they're getting that CD for sure. Yeah,
that first CD is very quite a few of the songs on there. Those they were there at the retreat with me. So it's very powerful. Just to hear all the different stories and things that happen. But there's one song we wrote as a group. There is called Bohica. I never knew what that meant. I never knew what that was. They had to tell me. I was like, Bohica, it must be an army thing.
We use it a lot.
Yeah, they're like, I go, what does that mean? But the song's Bohica. It's on the first album, but that was part of our retreat. We wrote that song all together and put our words in that. That was pretty cool. But he wrote it up like he's such an amazing artist, and like within a half hour, hour less than that, So. But yeah, we got to be. That was a fun song to do.
The title alone is just like speaks to me.
Right? Okay. Yeah. I was just like, what? I was like,
I just looked it up. That's one acronym I've never heard in the military. I've never heard anyone use that ever.
I lived by it. I was like, you know what? Like shit happens.
It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense.
And that song, if you listen to it pretty much how your recruiter lied to you, or and they said promised you this or that, and you're like.
And I kind of like how there's a lot of other military artists, especially veterans, especially combat veterans, they'll throw humor into it, and I love humor, but there's times where I want my song to be a song and not to be humor, and Jason doesn't do that. He doesn't throw humor into it to like lighten. He keeps it heavy, which is why I'm listening to it. It's that aspect is that's why he's a great artist, in all honesty.
Yeah. Volume 2 was that's pretty. Well, of course, it's all the women, and there's Gold Star Mom, which I think that's Jason's cousin. It's her brother. They lost her brother, but there's quite a few good stories on there for these women, from being a homeless vet to the first song is Sacrifice Ignored on that one. That one's amazing. It's talking about how people thank men for being in the military versus women. That's that first song. Like, Kelsey, I don't know. You probably don't know who she is, but she's from Wisconsin. But she did an amazing job. Her name's Kelsey Miles. I connect with her. She does a lot of good music. But that volume 2 is very. And I let people know, look, if you're not comfortable with the shit or saying front, there's the baby. Yeah, because it's really deep. It's about these women who MST survivors from being a lesbian. It's just so powerful, and to be part of that advisory committee to put everything in order, because we kind of started out as on that second CD. The CD is just like powerful, and then really got deep. All the songs got really deep. We went that whole CD. I told Jason, it hits me. Every single song hits me. It's like my life. There's like Broken, Free, and it's just these women, to tell, like you said, tell their stories like that and get out there. And to win a couple awards for them, that's even better. That's even more powerful. So, Yeah.
There was one song on that album that I can't remember the title of it.
On
there was
what
like a
album?
line, the Volume 2.
Volume 2.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, I don't remember the title of it, but there was like a line.
Okay.
I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah, that's it.
But it was like, I'll trust you with my life in like a combat scenario, but I'll sleep with a knife, like
Right.
you know, like on. And I was just like, fuck, because holy shit, like that's something that like I never even imagined. Like dealing with the combat shit alone is like, you know, that's fucking war. But then you have like a war within a war. So you can't even fucking sleep easy. Like,
right.
Shit,
I think that's
we
just,
struggle with our issues alone, and like that, like to me, is like, fuck that. But like to have that on top of it,
and that's normal. Like what the fuck?
Right. Yeah.
you are insanely strong. Insane. So we talked earlier about the before we got on about the for my life aspect to it. So do you have, while we've been talking, have you thought of any events or thoughts that made you for your life? They were a defining moment for you?
Like any events or
anything that happened where you were where you kind of had like a fuck my life mentality, and then something happened and you were like, never mind, I'm for my life now. I got this. We're gonna get through this.
That was like I was telling you guys earlier. That was that retreat that started my whole life. That going to that retreat, making that step to open up that right there. And I told Jason too. I said, I'm talking about warrior songs because you guys, he did, you know, and to do that and to him starting that nonprofit, we need that like that. The veterans, you need to have something like that to go to. And but that was because I was just like going on with my life, you know, working and
existing. You were existing.
Raising kids, and then like I said, you know, when that friend of mine said, "Hey, write down some stuff with me," and I was like, "Whoa," you know, and that actually kind of like started my adventure and started me healing. And then like I said, that retreat, that's what got me going because I changed a lot. And my ex-husband, he you know, he was military too, and but he actually seeked out for his pain and stuff too. And I was like, well, that was good because he saw me go and do
That's
stuff
a win-win.
too. Yeah, and that helped him too. But then so doing that, but I changed a lot.
I was going to say, how have your kids responded to the change? Have they seen like a drastic change in you since then, or did they experience that aspect of you? Okay.
Oh yeah. They've seen mom's crazy. No, oh man, don't get because as a parent, you just kind of let things, and then if you don't do so, then it's like that crazy side comes out of you and like, dang, what's wrong with you? I'm like, well, if you do your stuff, But they got to go to the performance because we performed after the retreat for the community. And I got up there and actually wrote a poem, and I was able to read that up there. And they were just because I think they were in their teens, their teenage years. So when they got to go to that, I think they saw me a little bit differently, and they're just like, "Wow, Mom!" And just to listen to all the other veterans that got up and told a little bit of their story and did, they're just like. They got it more,
that's why.
Moment.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
So very supportive, and they're definitely. So.
Had you talked to them about it before then, or no? Did they know nothing about what happened with the MSD?
Not until they got a little bit older. Mm-hmm. We didn't really. They knew that mom and dad were in the military. That's where they met, and that kind of. And not until they got older. Until I started sharing, until I was able to say,
right,
but
it truly was an aha moment because they somewhat didn't really know.
No, not until they're
causing mom to be the way mom was, and then it was
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Sorry.
Yeah. So, yep. Yeah, They're good kids. Yeah, they get it. but their thing is like, why'd you move to Arizona? That's like, I have to tell you though, they're like, that's like being in hell because of the heat. And I said, it's all right. And I have to joke about this because it's funny. I go, it's okay. Mom has a seat there. So it's okay. I'm sitting in my seat, you know.
Just prepping. I'm pre-gaming for hell. We got it.
You kids don't even know about Bohica.
And I got my seat down there. It's all right. So
I'm scared I'm going to start using that a lot now, in all honesty, Bohica. I'm really scared that's going to become part of my regular vernacular.
It's all right. Got a seat. Yeah. But yeah, they still got supportive. And actually, my oldest sister, she just got a hold of me last week, and she was listening to my song again, and she called me and cried, and I go, why are you crying? You know, what's going on? She goes, I'm so sorry because you were on your own back then, and I wish I was there for you. So she reconnected with that and with me, and she goes, I've been sharing it all over again. I said, thank you. That's great. You know, she goes, this is my sister, you know, and so it's still getting out there and sharing, and I still, you know, I'm just trying to people. And I'm hoping now that, you know, all this COVID stuff. Well, Arizona's pretty much opened up, but because when I was in Moses Lake and where all this happened, I did my songs. I was able to be part of some stuff up there and give out CDs. But when COVID hit, you know, couldn't do a lot of stuff anymore. You know, so couldn't go do my suicide walk or anything. Yeah, the suicide for 22. You know, but I'm trying to find stuff down here so I can go and give out CDs and do all that stuff too. So. Yeah, I'll have to hit up the VA, I guess.
Do vet centers. Do vet centers.
Yeah.
If you want to get away from the VA for a little bit, do vet. Do you know what a vet center is?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. Do the vet centers because I mean, you're probably going to find some MST survivors there that'll want to talk.
Right.
If you want, I can. I'll post a picture of the volume. I'll do volume 1 and 2 because I have all the volumes.
Yeah.
And if you want to send me, I can type something if you want. But if you want to send me something for you to say on there. I can post that on our Facebook page also.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you want,
sure. Yeah. Just send you an email. I have it. So, yeah. Great. Wow, this is great. This like checking.
Impressive, but also really important too. Is I mean, like one thing that I think we don't like recognize too, like what you're doing, going out there. Not only sharing your story, but now having your story like turn into a song and like that it's winning awards means that it's connecting with people.
Right.
You know? Like that level of connection, I think it's as much as we like to think like, hey, you know, we're here for other vets. We want to support vets who've been through shit. It's just, I think it's just as important for civilians to hear this kind of stuff.
Definitely.
There's a lot of parallels in the civilian world, but also it helps bridge that disconnect between our experiences and theirs, you know.
Right.
And I think that gets them. I mean, in a way, you're really taking up the torch and taking a leadership role in terms of like being that person that like sets the standard, right, by example. And that's a powerful thing for people to see. It really is. And I have a lot of respect for you because that's, I mean, I can only imagine like, hey, and you never know, right? This is songs. This is somebody can YouTube or something like that. So you never know how many people at the end of the day you're reaching. That's fucking amazing.
I mean, there's going to be a situation where somebody is going to be in the exact situation I was in, just not combat related, and they type in MST songs, and that's going to be one of the first 3 that pop up. They're going to hit that shit, and they're going to connect immediately. We on our Zoom, we have Zooms every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we 2 of them are live streamed. One of them's not live streamed. And one of the live streams, this was early on. We had a girl who came on. She was a civilian. She'd been raped by her boyfriend multiple times, and she was telling us. So it's a group of veterans, combat. So that civilian veteran or military divide, and she shared her shit, and there was grown men doing that. There was grown men consoling her, acting like they're her daughter. And then when she said things, it was, give me, what do you have? So that what we've really come to realize is, yes, there are different types of pain, but pain generally is the same thing. Different things cause them, but it presents itself in generally the same type of ways. So when we're sitting here I can talk to you about my IEDs and the combat and everything, and you can tell me about yours, and we're going to find a common ground there. There's the shell. When you said shell, I was a shell. Right there, we related. You know what I mean? So that, and traumatic things happen to civilians. So I think they get intimidated because what happened to us is so much worse. Well, that's not the fucking some people have watched their kids die. You know what I mean? There's so much trauma out there where things like this, stories like this, where you had X amount of things bad happen to you, but you, especially your attitude, your personality now, you can, it built you for who you are, but you're strong. And like Mo said, you're holding that torch now. I think women or men seeing this podcast or your videos and hearing what you said and the song that's the type of shit where they're going to have the aha moment. You're giving them that aha moment.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad that you guys wanted me to tell before my military, because that was my song. You know, it's like before the military, you know, I was going through shit, and then going to the military, I thought I'd be safe, but and then that's but yeah.
And if you can tell the other MST survivors from the volumes, I don't know why I forgot the volume 1 and 2. If they want to come on here, by all means, if they want to tell their story, if this will help them to get their story out there more, by all means.
Right. Yeah. If they send
you can give them my email, and they can just email me, and we'll schedule the same. You know, it's nothing like this was nothing to be nervous about. You did phenomenally. You know what I mean?
Well, I can tell you though, when they messed up my first initial date with you guys, this is so important to me, and so I kind of broke down because my schedule got changed, and I was like, you guys don't, I had to tell my work, you don't know how this is really important to me, you know, and so I kind of had a breakdown because don't mess up with my podcast or my military stuff, because I got things to say, and I did. So I was glad that it took us a couple of weeks, but I'm glad that I'm able to be here to do this and tell you. But yeah, because I was talking to my mom about it, and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Mom, and you know how I am about my military, about telling my story and all this stuff." And I said, I just literally had a breakdown about it, but you just kind of live through it, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, here I am. So, but you're right about that. What you were saying, Daniel, about people. Somebody told me not just military or people have PTSD. No. Anybody, civilians, everybody goes through some hard shit. Everybody has.
It's all how your brain. It's all how your brain perceives it.
Yeah.
If your brain wants to stuff that down so you don't feel what was happening, you literally cannot control that. That's out of your control. So I don't. Especially like with us, or even in the MST, the fear aspect, the shutting down. That is survival. That's not people have like they put a negative No, that they did that. Their brain did that to them, so they survived. You can't talk shit on that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I said, you gotta tell somebody or do something if you can. Find that spirit or find that strength to tell somebody, because it's not good for you. It's not good. To keep all that stuff down, because I know it's scary to tell somebody or to get it out there.
But feel it again. To feel it again.
I mean, to feel right.
It is worth it.
Yeah. It's definitely.
Did you finish your thought? I'm sorry. Did you finish your thought on the? We were talking about like the military civilian, like PTSD piece.
What was that? The question? I'm sorry.
Did you finish your thought there? Like, was there something?
Oh, about being civilian versus PTSD. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just got. No, I'm just saying that. But everybody, the PTSD can from any like you were saying, it hits everybody. Not everybody, but everybody has. It's not just military. And somebody told me that, a friend of mine or my sister-in-law, somebody. I'm like. I understand that because other people go through stuff in their lifetime too. So, but like I said, just if you get the strength, and if something bad, try and tell somebody, be safe and, or write stuff down. For me, like I said, I started writing, and then, wow, it's amazing, and that helps. That helps. It does help. And then, it's good. So hopefully somebody goes, I kind of want to take all my writings because it's so deep, and I was going to turn them into a book. Right. Because it's like, wow, I thought about that too. So there's a lot of things.
I don't see why you shouldn't.
Right. There's always little things going on in my mind, like I should do this or that, and and so yeah. But yeah,
I honestly think that would be if you have that much of journaling to do that, I think that would be wow. That would be like Jason's doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
That would be insane.
Yeah, unfortunately, when I moved from Spokane to Moses Lake, a lot of my journey, I don't know if my ex and his mom took them or I don't know. And I was like, oh, it's all right. But I did find some other ones, so that's okay too, But
plus, it's still your brain. You can still, you know what I mean?
It's my brain. That's
jot
right.
some things down.
That's right. So, but yeah.
But this was amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. I learned so much already just from being here today. This has got my brain ticking now. I got some soul searching I'm gonna have to do after this. No, this honestly, thank you. This was
right. You're welcome. Yeah, I just hope other people get to see it, and definitely I'd love to be invited again. We'll see what's going on in the future, and
of course,
see what else is going on.
We're about to like revamp the Zooms a little bit. So once that gets set, I want to come into Zoom, present. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do exactly what we did here, but because there'll be other people in there, so other people might have questions. I think something like that would be amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll talk to these other women though too from the Warrior Songs and see if I can send out some emails and give your information out. So
yes, please, that would be amazing.
It's very powerful. Like I said, these women very, very powerful. So yeah,
it's not something heard often either. It's something. It's still one of those tabooed, stigmatized things. And so Project Refit, one of our main mottos is "fuck stigmas." It's like we do not entertain stigmas at all.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, I mean, think about like half the population on this earth is, women, and it's like if we're only really hearing from like half of what's out there, that's there's so much left out, and that's such a disservice to everyone. So again, like Dan was like you have such a powerful story.
Yeah.
And not just of what happened from before the military, during the military, but like your experiences and growth. Like to me, this was you were really an amazing example, and your story is an amazing example of like post-traumatic growth, right? Which is where ultimately like we all should want to be. It's like to grow from that trauma, to grow from those experiences. So, I mean, it was amazing having you on, hearing everything you talked about. I'm glad you let us like pick your brain and give our one-sided perspective.
Oh, geez, looks like James is trying to text me here.
Internet's not working. He's apologized. Yeah, his internet. He basically hasn't heard anything this entire podcast.
Oh no!
But he'll rewatch it. He'll be
that's awesome.
He's just apologizing for that.
But
yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. Again, thank you. This was phenomenal. We obviously would fucking
listen to those CDs.
I literally love. I have Spotify up right now. As soon as we hang up, I'm gonna listen to Hold On first, but and then everybody, don't forget August 15th we have the car cruise. So come to that, please, and thanks for tuning into to our podcast.
All right, thanks, guys.